Okay, next test review. A dance academy charges $24 per class and a one-time registration fee of $15. Actually, the $15 needs to come before you pay $24 per class. Sorry about the bad writing. Okay. A student paid a total of $687 to the academy. Find the number of classes a student took. So I have 2 units. So you want to make that. Anytime there's 2 units, you want to put dollars in classes. So I don't have a time unit, so X is whatever I'm paying for, because Y is always the dependent, the money is always the dependent unit. So per dollars per class. Okay, and my dollars per class is $24, and it's actually dollars, so I go ahead and make my line graph to help me set up the equation. So mx in the middle, and then b at the beginning, plus equals y. So my m is $24, so 24x. Now remember, you paid $15 before you paid $24 per class, so your b is equal to 15, and then you write your equation. So my equation is 15 plus 24x equals y. Okay, so $687 is the value I put into the equation for one of my variables, and it's dollars, so it's going in for y. So replace your y. When you're replacing y, y is by itself. So that means your x is not by itself. So it's multiplied by 24. I need to minus 15. 687 minus 15 is 672. Then 24 times x is 672, so I divide by 24. And 672 divided by 24 is 28. So x equals 28 classes. Okay, second problem. A hurricane is traveling at a constant speed on a straight path towards a coastal town. 1 hour after being spotted on radar, it's 216 miles off, it's supposed to say OFF, off the coast. 5 hours after being spotted, it is 144 miles off the coast. How many hours after it is spotted on radar is the hurricane 0 miles from the coast? Okay, so again, 2 units. So I've got hours and miles. Okay, again, times the independent variable, and the other one's the dependent variable. So per miles per hour. Okay, now you don't see the miles per hour, but it moves at a constant speed, so you have to figure that out. You're going to have to figure out your m yourself. Okay, so that's y minus y divided by x minus x. Now remember, y is the miles, so that has to be on top. X is the hours. You can't get them mixed up. Miles, hours. So my miles are 216 minus 144. Okay, and then the hours are 1 minus 5. Okay. So 216 minus 144 is 72, and then 1 minus 5 is negative 4. And then I divide 72 by negative 4 on a calculator, and it's negative 18. See, negative 18. Now you want to keep the negative because that is true. You keep it negative because, as you can see, your miles are going down as the problem proceeds. 216 to 144 to eventually 0, meaning it's in the town already. So y minus y, x minus x, find your m value when you don't know it. Okay, so my line graph, b plus mx equals y. Technically that line goes down, but I want to stay consistent with my drawing so it doesn't get all confusing. So just putting a negative 18 over there will turn the line down automatically when I write the equation. Now I have to figure out my b. It's not there for me. If m wasn't there for me, b certainly isn't. I don't know how many miles it started away from the town when they first saw it on radar. So y equals m times x plus b. Now circle your b. You put a 1 in front if you want. It's not being really multiplied by anything, but it's technically 1. So you need to replace your y, m, and x. Now your m you already have. You already have negative 18. And then to find the x and the y, you need to do a combo. You need to find an hours and a miles that are in the same sentence. Well, 1 hour after being spotted on radar, it's 260 miles off the coast. So 1 hour and 216 miles works as my combo. So hours is x, miles is y. So 216 goes over the y, and then 1 goes over the x. So I have 216. And then I take negative 18 times 1, which is negative 18 plus 1b. Okay, so I got negative 18, so I need to add 18 to both sides. So 216 plus 18 is 234 equals 1b. You don't really need that 1 there anymore because you have your b value, 234. And now that's my equation. Okay. We have 234 plus negative 18x. You can also write minus 18x as long as you remember it's negative equals y. So my input value is 0 miles, and miles is y. Okay, 0 takes the place of the y. Okay, you don't need to parenthesize your y. You just replace it. The x you want to parenthesize, but not the y. Okay, now let's get the x by itself. So I need to minus 234 from both sides of my equation. Negative 18x, and 0 minus 234 is negative 234. Then divide by negative 18. And that's your answer. Okay, I got 13, so x equals 13, so it's 13 hours. That says hours down there. Okay, copy machine cut it off. Okay, next one. A group of friends take a day-long tubing trip down a river. The company rents out 22 large tubes and 4 small tubes to the group. The group pays $360. Large tubes cost $7.50 more than small tubes. Find the cost of each type of tube. Okay, now I have 3 units, large, small, and dollars. So it's not a 2-unit relationship, it's 3, so I need to make my table to set up the problem. Okay, I'm buying small and large and together. That's a capital L. Then how many per and total. So dollars, dollars. Total dollar amount's 360. So you know down there it's equal to 360. Okay, non-money amounts, well, you got 2 of them. You got 22 large. And then you got 4 small. You can add those, it's 26, but we're not going to really use the 26 for anything here. Okay. Okay, and then cross those out. Now the only thing I have left is 750, but it says more. Okay, that means I don't use y. I use x plus 750 for one of these, and then x for the other, because I don't know either one. Okay. Now remember, the large are going to cost more. So x plus 750, and then x. Okay, so 4 times x is the expression 4x, and then here I have another expression, but I need to distribute 22 to both of those with that plus sign, so it's 22x. And 22 times 7.50 is 165. Okay, now here's my equals. You want to add the x's right now, okay? 4x and 22x make 26x, and then I add 165, and then equals 360. Then you just get the x by itself. You minus 165. 360 minus 165 is 195. 26x equals 195 divided by 26. And I think that's 7.5. Okay, so here's my x. It's directly under small tubes, so the small tubes cost $7.50. Now to find how much large costs, well, it's right here. I know X is 7.50, so I add 7.50 plus 7.50. 15. So $15. Okay, next one. The theater club sells a total of 101 tickets to its first play. A student ticket costs $1, an adult ticket costs $2.50. Total ticket sales are $164. How many of each type of ticket were sold? And this is supposed to say adult and student. Adult tickets, student tickets. Okay, so that's 3 units. And you got the students. You got the adults. And then you got them together. How many per and total? Okay, so your money total is $164. How many? Well, the only thing you know about how many is 101 tickets, but it's not students, adults. It also isn't more than, so you go 101 X, Y, and that's one equation you're going to have to use then. Okay, on the final, you're not going to use that. Okay, so students are $1. And the adults are $2.50. So X times 1 is the expression 1X, and that's 2.50 Y. Okay, so I have a system of 2 equations working together. So X plus Y could equal 101, or 1X plus 2.50 Y equals 164. Now your x's already have the same number in front, so we're just going to go negative, 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 and then add. So 1 plus negative 2.50 is negative 1.5 y. Then 101 plus negative 164 is negative 63. Okay, and then you divide both sides of your equation by negative 1.5. You just got to have confidence in the process that if you do everything right. I got 42. Okay, so y is adults, so you got 42 adults. And then you can just subtract 42 from there, because if you know that your y is 42, x plus 42 is 101, then you can just minus. That's 59. Okay, next one. An online music store sells 4,000 songs each day when it charges $1 per song. For each 5-cent increase in price, 80 fewer songs per day are sold. The store can increase revenue for a while, but there comes a point where they must stop or people will quit buying because it's too expensive. After how many price changes will they reach their maximum revenue, which is X, and then what will the maximum revenue be? Now, it's all set up for you. Now, to find your x, you have to know the formula that finds the x maximum. It's opposite of b divided by 2 times a. It's not the GCFT in the song. It's none of that stuff, okay? You need to get an equation. It's got to be x squared x and constant. And then to find your y, you just replace x in the equation. Okay, now you're talking revenue. The formula for revenue is taking the dollars I charge times the number of items I sell. So where are my dollars at? There and there. Those go together. So you start with 1. I know it says per song, but that's your beginning amount. You don't put X. Then increase means plus 5 cents. It's like a nickel, but you don't know how many 5-cent increases there are, so I put an X variable. Okay, now the items are 4,000. Now 80 fewer. That means minus 80x. Okay, now I don't have an A and a B, so I replace, instead of R, I put Y. and then I have to get this into a standard form equation. Now you can do the FOIL method if you want, and you'll end up here. But to make sure you're accurate, let's use the math papa. 1 plus 0.05x times 4,000 minus 80x. There's a lot of things that can go wrong if you don't get this and you end up with a train wreck. Make sure you put negative 4x to the second. It's not positive. And then the 120 and the 4,000. And then I pretty much have my A and B, so now I can come up here. So the opposite of plus 120 is negative 120. And then I take 2 times negative 4. You times first, that's negative 8. And then I divide a negative 120 by negative 8. I know it's positive, and it's 15. So that's how many 5-cent increases there are. Okay, then I replace the x's with 15. And that gives me my y, which is my revenue. So negative 4 times 15 to the second plus 120 times 15 plus 4,000. 4,900. That's your maximum revenue. Okay, now the next one's another parabola, but you're not finding the maximum, so you need to diagram it differently. A missile is launched toward a town from a 300-foot platform at a velocity of 700 feet per second. After how many seconds will it hit its ground target? Ground means 0 feet. So I'm not finding the maximum, so I take my 2 units and just continue. X is seconds, Y is feet. So for feet per second is 700. Now I know it's 700 feet, but it's going to come back down. So it's not a linear equation. It's a quadratic equation because it's a parabola. Parabola and quadratic equation mean the same thing. So what you do is you mark your starting height. Your starting height's 300 feet, and you're going to end up down here lower 0 feet. Okay, so now I make my equation with what's happening. And the gravity equations are easy to write. You don't need any of the parentheses nonsense. So you have your gravity. You got your feet per second. You have your starting height. And then the 0 feet goes in for Y. Okay, now X has 2 answers because it's to the second power, because you have to solve for X. And there's also an X that isn't to the second power, so you need to set up your factoring. The 0's there, you're set with the 0. So it's GCF and T-chart, but on these ones I wouldn't even recommend worrying about the T-chart. Now you need the negative, okay, because your 16's negative. X squared X and nothing, okay. Then you can use your GCF calculator, and 16, 700, and 300, the GCF's 4. So negative 4 goes out, and then I divide all these by negative 4. That's positive 4x to the second. 700 divided by negative 4 is negative 175x minus 175x. And then 300 divided by negative 4 is negative 75. A, B, C. So I take 1 times 4 times negative 75. If the number is over 100, I'm not going to do this, okay? I'm just going to write fail. Most of these fail, okay? So you go to your formula. Write the actual formula. Opposite of B, E opposite of B, E plus or minus, D square root. Make 2 parentheses, B squared minus 4AC over 2A over 2A. Okay, so the opposite of B would be positive 175. B itself would be negative 175. I'm going to put the negative, even though it doesn't really matter, because when you take a number to the second power, it ends up being positive anyway. 4, and then A is 4. And C is negative 75. You got to get your negative 75 or it doesn't work. You can't just put 75. And then A itself is 4. Well, I know 2 times 4 is 8, so I'm going to divide by 8, but I got to figure out this square root. So I go second, get to the square root. You need, one parentheses comes up, but then you need another one for the negative 175. Square it, take it to the second power, and then subtract 4, 4, and negative 75. Okay, I got 178.3. It'd be 178.40. I don't really care how it's rounded. Okay. Now I do the rest of it. I have 175 in the front, then I add 178.40, hit equals, and then divide by 8. You really have to hit equals after you do the plus operation. You can't do both operations at the same time. It'll do them out of order. 44.18. That's a decent answer. Then I subtract 175 minus 178.40. Remember, do the subtraction first, then divide by 8. Negative 0.43. Okay, 44.18 is your seconds. You want to take the higher answer. Okay, and then the last one, I changed the problem. A car is worth $20,000. It goes down in value at a rate of 12% each year. Dollars and years are my 2 units. How many years will it take for the value to get down to 10,000? So again, now you're back to 2 units. Dollars, years. X is years, Y is dollars. So dollars per year. Okay, you don't have a dollars per year. Instead, it's a percentage per year, and it's going down, which would be minus 12%. Okay. Now, when it's by a percent, that means it's repeatedly multiplied, not repeatedly added. So it's not a line graph. It's an exponential function. Okay. So the first and last blank are Y values, money. Okay. And then here's my percent. And then X is there for the years. So fill out your percent factor first. There's no quarterly. I didn't put that on here. So you take 100% minus 12%, which is 88%. Now don't put 88. You got to divide it by 100, and that's 0.88. Okay, now your beginning amount's 20,000. Your years I don't know because that's what I'm trying to figure out, and then we end the problem at 10,000. Okay, now you have to solve for a power here. So circle the base and the power, and you know that the formula that gives you that is setting the expression in your exponent, which in this case is just x, equal to the log over log. You know 0.88's in your denominator, okay? Now the numerator I don't know because there's this 20,000 out here, but you don't minus it, okay? It is multiplied. The opposite of multiply is to divide. So if you divide there, it cancels. Divide 10,000 by 20,000, it's 0.5. It's not 2, okay? So I take log 0.5 divided by log 0.88. Okay, I got 5.4. Now, if you really wanted brownie points, you could take... No, never mind. Just go with that. It's late in the year.